Hey guys, and welcome to today's Coffee and Christ. Thought we'd begin today with a question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? What would yours be?
Well, Spider-Man was the one I gravitated to when I was a kid. And I really tried hard as a kid trying to figure out how to do those spidey webs, where you could shoot them out and then trap things and swing from things. And I used everything I could think of to try to create within this idea of shooting out webs. I wasn't successful, but Spider-Man was my man.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mine would be the ability to manipulate time, just because I think you can do everything with the manipulation of time. But I like yours too. The idea of...
You like to have power over time.
Think about it. You can go back in time, forward in time. You can be super fast, super slow. You can essentially go anywhere if you can slip through time and slip, assuming you subscribe to string theory, and you can slip through the wormholes. Either way.
Would you use it for good or evil, though? See, I'm a little concerned.
I would like to think I'd use it for good.
I would hope.
I hope so. Anyway, so back to, with the silly string and stuff coming out of your hands.
Yeah.
I do like Spider-Man. He's a pretty cool little character.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, I think a lot of people can relate to Spider-Man, especially in the way that they wrote the comic, that he isn't just somebody who swoops in and saves the day from day one. Mm-hmm. There's this very real attempt to balance life I think it gives a pretty good idea of what life might look like for the average individual if they had superpowers and were trying to save the world, but at the same time be somewhat normal.
And he struggled with his powers.
He did, especially there at the beginning. Struggles to come to grips with what the changes that are within him.
Yeah.
Struggles to be okay with being powerful and having that power.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit about with us and prayer. We have this power inside of us. We have this power, this access to power all the time. But I think we struggle to fully grasp it, to fully understand it, and to fully utilize it.
Yeah.
We're talking about families. This is Family Emphasis 2020. And I'm sure you've been asked questions, I know I have been, of what is the most important thing you can do? What's the most powerful thing you can do for your kid?
Yeah, especially when we talk about fortify, strengthen, right? And prayer is, I think, so vitally important and way underutilized.
Absolutely. It reminds me a little bit about Naaman and his leprosy. It's that story there in the book of 1 Kings as Naaman, with his leprosy, comes to the prophet Elisha, says, hey, will you please help me to be clean? And Elisha tells him through his servant, not even face to face, which Naaman wasn't all that thrilled with, to go wash in the river Jordan 7 times. Naaman throwing up his hand and say, hey, no, this is just ridiculous. It's way beneath me, decided to go home. And it's Naaman's servant that says, look, if it had been asked of you to do some grand, life-threatening deal, you would have done it without question. But this is pretty simple. I kind of think it's the same general idea. Not that we're not willing to use prayer, but that at times it just seems so simple that it feels like there ought to be something else that we have to do. There ought to be something more powerful. But the reality is, even though prayer is simple, it's by far the most powerful.
It is. It changes lives. It changes families. It can change marriages. It can change the course of a child's life. When Mama Prays, Randy Travis song. Man, I love that song because it has so much power within it. This person overhearing Mama praying night after night, day after day. And it actually then led to this transformation of this young man's life. And it is so true. There is such great power in prayer. And teaching our children the beauty and the power of reaching out to God into his throne room and asking him and sometimes pleading and begging for him and being satisfied with him, being involved in your life with his power unleashed through prayer.
No. And so regardless of if your children are home or if your children are out from underneath your roof, pray for them. Be specific. Pray not only for their hearts, pray for their lives. The power of prayer should not be taken for granted and cannot be underutilized.
I can't...
Or overutilized.
What you just said really struck me, that idea of praying for specifics. Boy, that really is so important. To pay attention to the details of your children's lives, and it really helps then with that prayer and that power of prayer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you strength.